transportation in any country primarily is via rail. We have lost that. Now we have 93% of offtake of goods from Mombasa being on the road, but we are going to adjust that. Initially through efficiencies with the current railway line, through RVR, but eventually through the brand new standard gauge railway line, such that the majority of goods offtake from the port of Mombasa and Lamu as well will be by rail. You talked about rail having been preceded everything else. And if you look at the new corridor we're opening in Lamu, what we call the Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia Transport Corridor. We have a port, a brand new port in a natural deep sea harbor that we're going to be putting up. But alongside it, all the way via Isiolo to South Sudan and to Addis Ababa, we're going to put up rail and highway. And again, the rail will mostly be focused on goods. And as I said earlier on, the combination of these infrastructure projects and components of infrastructure projects is critical to eventually lowering the cost of doing business and making us a much more efficient country in terms of our industrialization and our access to markets. Now, I do also want to add that the Lamu Port South Sudan Ethiopia Transport Corridor is geared towards opening up an area of Kenya that for a long time has been dormant economically. And secondly, also to integrate the economies of Ethiopia and South Sudan with Kenya and through Kenya with East Africa. I also want to say that Vision 2030 is a Kenyan vision, but we are not, rather we are alive to the fact that we have neighbors whom we are integrating with, because we aim to see East Africa seen as a single investment destination because of economies of scale. And with those economies of scale, 120 million East Africans, and if you add Ethiopians and South Sudanese, you're talking about 240 million people. It's much more interesting for investments, much easier to invest. And so we are alive to the fact that Uganda, for instance, has a Vision 2020, Rwanda has a Vision 2020, Tanzania has a Vision 2025, and therefore we'd like to harmonize the implementation of all these strategies, national strategies together, because we all have the same goal. We want to move away from a third world status to an industrializing status and uplift the quality of life of our peoples in this entire region. This is why, unusually, when we launched the LAPSET corridor, even the nomenclature, Lamu Port, South Sudan, Ethiopia Transport Corridor, is meant to underscore the fact that this is not a Kenyan project, but a regional project. And we expect all regional partners to equally own the project. So whether it is the rail, the port, the highway, the pipelines that we're going to be building, given the oil finds in Sudan, in Uganda, and in Kenya, and hopefully very soon in Ethiopia, we would like all these projects to be jointly conceptualized and jointly developed and funded by all the regional partners, because eventually our goal by the year 2030 is that this will be a region where all citizens are uplifted.